And you are live watching the Leaving in the Ring roundtable. Your eyes are not deceiving you. There has not been a transformation. This is not D-Style. This is Maestro Amilcar. I'll be joined by D-Style shortly. I'm here with the one and only Eric Lorta from Ringside Reporter. Also here with Joe Habib and my man from Puerto Rico, Big Rican. How are you guys doing tonight?
All right, man. Doing
very well, very well.
A little tired.
I hear you. It's been a long week. It's Thursday, but you know, it's a big weekend this week. It's fight weekend. It's the little guys, but it's a big show this weekend on DAZN, and we're going to get into that. We've got a lot of topics to discuss this week, and there's none other that could be possibly bigger than the GWOAT, right? Or is it the GMOAT? I don't know if it's the greatest women and male of all time, which is what I was reading a lot over the past weekend. It's the first male or female to be undisputed in two weight classes in the first four belt era. But we're going to talk about Clarissa Shields first and her win over the weekend, becoming the undisputed champ at 54 pounds. Eric, I know you're a huge fan of Clarissa Shields. Why don't you get us started? I'm sure you paid the big bucks for that pay-per-view, and we're turning in line. I know you weren't watching UFC. You're obviously watching Clarissa Shields last night, right?
Of course, yeah, absolutely. You know, let me tell you what, man. It's funny because I didn't even go to YouTube and watch the replay of it. That's how much I cared about this fight. I mean, it was just the card up and down was horrible. You know, they had nobody on there. The only person anybody knew on there, the most popular girl on there, was Holly Holm, and she was announcing. All right, that's just the hard fact of it. And you know, and I hear her saying, you know, hey, well, let's, you know, I want more money. I want this kind of money. I want that kind of money. Listen, until you start fighting 3-minute rounds, 12-round fights for championships, I don't want to hear you. I don't want to know about you. I'm not focusing on it. My attention's going elsewhere, because essentially what you're telling me and what you're telling everybody else is that women are inferior. That's what you're saying, because in women's soccer, they don't adjust the time. They don't adjust the rules. You know, there's a lot of women's sports out there that don't adjust the time. They don't adjust the rules. It's the same rules as men. Why in boxing? Not like you're boxing men. What a girl can't go 3 minutes? Women can't go 3 minutes. They're conditioned athletes.
But wait a second, Eric, I got to cut you off. She's
Sure.
the greatest women or man of all time, because they referenced that multiple times over the weekend, and she's the first ever man or woman,
Of course,
to accomplish what she did.
Absolutely, yeah. She's the greatest. Of what? Of what? I mean, you look at the talent pool. Look at the talent pool that she has. Look at the talent pool Terrence Crawford has. You tell me what's what. You know, you look at the talent pool Canelo has. You look at the talent pool Clarissa Shields has. Listen, it's not deep. All right, you're in a wading pool right now. The other guys are in an ocean. All right, and listen, that's no fault of her own. She can only control who she fights, who's put in front of her, and so far she's everybody she's put in front of her, she's beat. I get it. But she doesn't, there's nothing about her to me that screams, I got to watch it. You know what I mean? There's nothing about it. She has, to me, the charisma's not there. I think she's trying to be like a Floyd or something like that. She doesn't have that kind of charisma. If she started being the good guy, she doesn't have that kind of charisma. There's just, for me, there's nothing there pulling me and saying, you know what? I got to see this. When Ronda Rousey fought in the UFC or when Amanda Nunes fights, you look at it and you say, you know what? I got to check that out. These guys are knocking people out. They're not making it to the final bell. UFC is another one. 5-minute rounds, 5-round fights. If you can't do that, and really, you know what? I'm going to put the burden really goes on the women for this, because what did who was the lady we had on there? Was that Sulam Urbina or whatever? Salam Urbina or whatever?
Sulam Urbina.
Yeah. So she was on our show, and she says we approached her with a 2-minute subject. She said, well, if I'm getting paid for 2 minutes, why would I want to fight for 3 minutes? And I'm going to get paid. I get it. Listen, that's a great argument. I get it. But listen, then you can't cry about it when you're not as popular and nobody takes your sport seriously.
Don't
You can't
complain
cry
about your pay. Don't complain about your pay.
I can definitely see that. Joe, you were saying something. Go ahead. What were your thoughts?
I said, then don't complain about your pay, man. I mean, if you're happy fighting the 2 minutes, then you think you're going to get paid more, then I mean, you got to do more to get paid more.
You know, you call yourself the greatest of all time, blah, blah, blah. You're fighting 2-minute rounds, 10 rounders, 20 minutes versus 30 minutes. And you guys are wondering why there's not more excitement, more knockouts, more anything? Stop.
Big Rican, I see you over there, super eager to jump in on this Clarissa Shields topic. You go cook.
All right, so Eric brought up a really good point. As somebody who does MMA myself, I'm going to definitely, bring it up. So I will say this right now. As far as women's boxing, and I know, I would probably get flack for it. I don't watch it. And I watch the highlights. And for me, Clarissa Shields, we can all agree. There's nobody, there's Clarissa Shields, and then there's everybody else. Her last couple fights have all been, decisions against girls that who knows, she probably should have been able to put these girls out of their misery. Which, like I said, I'm an MMA fan. I didn't like Ronda Rousey because her attitude and all stuff, but at least judo flip, armbar. Boxing was crap, but at least you went in there knowing okay, when is she going to submit them? Is she going to knee them to the body and get a knockout? I'll be real. As a Puerto Rican, the only reason I watch women's boxing is when Amanda Serrano fights. That's the only time I watch it, because the women's boxing isn't. It's just nowhere near the excitement that you would get from a UFC fight or any kind of men's fights. And it's not even just the 2-minute, 3-minute rule thing. It's just that I can't get excited. It's almost like the women's WNBA. The talent is not there, and I want to see people, getting crossed over. I want to see someone get a shot swatted. But it just doesn't help that the talent pool is also not there. There's no excitement. Like I said, the only time I ever get excited is when Amanda Serrano fights, and that's only because I'm Puerto Rican. I don't know who the hell she's fighting, but hey, it's Amanda Serrano. She's Puerto Rican. I'm going to watch. But
DStyle?
Well, first, I just want to point this out. I just want to ask a quick question, man, to MMA here, to Big Rican. Do you care about that in MMA if a guy's Puerto Rican or not?
No, I mean, will I be excited when a Puerto Rican's fighting like Rob Font, Jimmy Rivera, Anthony Pettis, even though he's half Puerto Rican, half Mexican? I'll be excited, but I'm gonna watch them all because you never know what's gonna happen. But with Clarissa Shields' fight, I expect her to either outclass the fighter or at least punish them, because again, her talent is way above everyone else's. It's kind of like if you were to tell me that Tito Trinidad fights some bum and doesn't he's better than everybody else, or Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson. You know where I'm going with this.
The reason I was asking is because Eddie Bravo says that he only cares about race and boxing, so he goes for the Mexicans, but in MMA he doesn't give a shit. So that's why I was asking. But look, guys. I'm with Eric with this one. Look. Okay, she made history. Her story. Okay, well, whatever the hell it's her story. Okay, whatever. She fought in divisions with 20 people in it, and half of them have losing records. The other quarter are batting 500. It's not like loaded divisions. Now there is one rematch I wanted to take, and one thing no one's talking about is that Hannah Gabriel's never lost her titles at 154. All right, she had to move up to fight Shields. She got stripped of her super, WBA status. I think she should fight Hannah Gabriel's again. I think it's that's one fight that will be competitive. Okay, and you got that. You guys can remind me of the name. The other chick in the UK was pretty good too. Okay. Yes, I said chick. I'm sorry. Okay. But look. I don't understand why I need to stay there for 10 minutes Okay, every time Clarissa Shields fights, and I'm not saying it's her fault, I'm just waiting for the fight to end by like the 5th round. I'm like, okay, let's get the shit over with. We're going to see the same shit for the next 5 rounds. Nothing's going to change. Like for the next, freaking few rounds. The other chick ain't going to land shit. She's going to pot shot her for the rest of the night, and that's it. We need to give the women more time, especially like when there's a big talent gap, right? The fighter that's not as talented needs time to go after the extremely talented fighter to try and break him down, right? You think Chavez would have had enough time with 2 minutes and only 10 rounds against Malcolm Taylor? No.
I knew that's where they were going with it.
Okay, that's not going to fix anything, man. They need to go to 3 minutes. You don't get paid by the hour in boxing. All right, are we going to cut your pay if you knock somebody out in the first round? That's not the way it works. Like, well, if you want me to fight an extra minute, you're going to have to pay me more. Why? No, that's not the way it works. You get paid by what you generate and what you negotiate and all that. That's how you get paid in boxing, right? If you want to be equal and all this, I'm all for it. I support you 100%, all right? 100%. Vagina power to the women. I get it. All that good stuff. Okay, 3 minutes. 12 rounds.
Well, here are my thoughts on this. I was like pretty surprised that major media outlets, The Guardian, New York Times, a lot of places are actually covering this fight. But to use the language of first person, male or female, to me just came across as absolutely ridiculous. Women's boxing is not the same sport as men's boxing. It's as similar to men's boxing as softball is to baseball. You don't win a softball championship and then go screaming around and running around talking about how you're the first woman or man to do something that a baseball player did. It's like, I just hit 5 home runs in a softball game. Now I'm the first man or woman to do that. And it's ridiculous. This is a sport with 2-minute rounds, oversized gloves that go 10 championship rounds. And like D-Style said, and I think Big Rican said this as well, the talent is just not there. Women's boxing has not been an Olympic sport for very long. The talent pool is not what it is in judo. It's not what it is in Taekwondo, which I've referenced many times. You look at Maria Espinosa, the Mexican gold medalist in Taekwondo. Taekwondo's been practiced there for a long, long time. There's never been a Mexican champion in women's boxing. There's a reason for that. It's a relatively new sport. So look, Clarissa Shields now going to be dabbling in the MMA. Good luck with that. All of the people that consider her to GWOAT, that's definitely up for debate. We got a woman fighting on Saturday on the undercard who can make that claim too, which is Cecilia Brækhus. But it's interesting that we're pretty much all in agreement here, and you can label this show or label us each something other than what we are. But what we're doing really is just speaking facts. So anyhow, yeah, go ahead.
We can't fix the problem unless we address it, right? We can't just pretend that it's at the same level as the men's. I'm sorry. Okay. Like, I respect Cecilia Brækhus very much, but when people were saying, oh, she's going to break Joe Louis's record, like, I guess, but no.
You don't guess. It's not the same. It's just not the same.
Hey,
and if you don't mind, I just want to do this just really quick, because I think it's worth kind of, just going over it really quick, okay? This fight was at 154 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
So super welterweight, all right? In the world, there are 1,650 male fighters fighting at 154 pounds, all right? Does anybody in the panel want to guess how many women there are in the same weight class?
I'm going to say 17.
There are 38 in the world.
Okay.
38!
That's not good.
In the world! All right? So at least Katie Taylor and women like that, Tenisa Estrada, they're fighting division with at least 200 women in it. You know what I mean? Like, there's just no talent there. It's not Clarissa Shields' fault. But they start calling her the GOAT. The GOAT of what?
The GOAT of the 154-pound boxing in 2021, pretty much. I mean,
I did want to say something. One of the comments on Tail Media, and he said it. He was saying about, like, you know, he's not a huge fan, but he was like asking about, you know, the size of, like, you know, the UFC like roster. That's just the UFC. It's not, you know, MMA around the world, but like the lightweight division has 70 fighters in the division. They just ranked the top 15. Like, you know, you have to go through a hailstorm unless, you know, you've been in another organization winning and everything. But if you're an up and comer, you're going through maybe, you know, 70 other dudes in your same division. Like, it's definitely not the same.
This is the super middleweight division. There's 17 women. 17 women. And only like the top 5 have winning records. Okay? If you go to the males, all right, there are far more males. Okay? By far. It's just the truth. There's 1,234. All right? So,
good Lord.
I mean, it's just, there's not enough talent, guys. Like, we're not lying when we say this.
DStyle, that was page 1. It said page 1.
yeah,
Page
1.
It said page 1. There's more than 1,000.
Yeah, page 1 of 1. But let's move on and let's discuss something that I stayed up quite late here, at least in New York City, to watch last night, which was the Showbox card. First of all, I realized that I'm getting really fucking old because Showbox apparently turned 20 years old last night. Time does fly, doesn't it, guys? What were your thoughts, Joe, on the main event, specifically Brandon Lee? Did you see it? Were you impressed? Is this kid what a lot of people are saying he is, which is a future star in the welterweight division?
Definitely punch, but you know, we always say that boxing is a sport where you're going to get hit. It's not a video game. You know, you're not going to go into the ring and be unscathed. One thing I don't like, though, is when I see a guy welcoming the punches, not really making an effort to be defensive and catching the punches very flush. And I saw him catch punches very flush. Even before the right hand he landed, he got hit with a good right hand, and you could see his head kind of jar a little bit. And I don't care how hard a guy hits. If you go through a career like that and you continue to take shots that flush and your head keeps snapping and snapping and snapping and that brain keeps getting jarred from the brain stem there, it's going to have some residual effect. We saw guys like Paul Williams, Antonio Margarito, guys who didn't mind taking 2 to give 1. And eventually, you know, when you keep chipping away and chipping away and chipping away, the rock is going to crack. So kid can punch, definitely has an exciting style, but I just didn't like the way he was welcoming getting hit like that. It seemed to me that he didn't really make an effort to defend himself because he just was so confident in his own ability and his own offense. I know people sometimes say, you know, the best defense is a great offense, which is true. But again, you know, you just don't want to catch shots. I mean, he's a young guy. It's early in his career. It's not going to have an effect probably right now. But as time goes on, if he continues to fight in that type of style, I know it's great to try to fight exciting. But again, you know, it'll catch up with you over time. So that was my only concern about him. But definitely a dynamic fighter, no question about it.
D-Style, were you impressed?
Look, I here's what I'll say: that the knockout was, you know, a hell of a knockout. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that, you know, knockout of the year. I'll save that one for Valdez. But impressive knockout. I did not watch it live, but I did see the replay. I like Brandon Lee though. Isn't he like half Mexican and like half Korean or something like that?
I don't know if he's half. I know he's from California, and I know his dad is Korean. I'm not sure his mom's background. Eric Lauder, did you watch the fight? Were you impressed?
I watched it on delay, and listen, man. I like him. Every time I see him, I like him. I like what I see. The problem is the guy's 22-0 now with 20 knockouts, and I mean, I'm looking at his box rec right now. I don't recognize any of these names. He hasn't fought a name, and and I'm wondering, like, are you going to step him up anytime soon? The last guy he fought was 17-3, then 12-4, 16-3. I mean, like, if you're hyping him up as the next two, he's got 22 fights. I don't even know that he's ranked. I looked at the rankings today. I didn't see him. That doesn't mean he's not there, but I don't know that he's even ranked. But he's got 22 fights. I mean, at least break the top 15. Something. I mean, and Big Rican can probably speak to this better than I can. When I look at this guy, I see like the same thing I see with Edgar Balancha. Okay. I see a guy who can fight, who's knocking everybody out. I get it. But I want to see him fight somebody credible. I want to see him fight a live body in there.
Yeah.
And until I see that, I think the same thing. Both of those guys, they look the part. They're acting the part. They're knocking everybody out. But what do they do with a guy they can't knock out? Do they still win? I don't know.
Yeah, Big Rican. I think you're on mute, fam.
I'm gonna be real. I did not see the fight because I was asleep, but I did watch the knockout.
Okay.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
But you brought up the Edgar Balancha situation. I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, his fights haven't even left the first round No, none of his fights have left the first round. Or what was the second round his last fight? Maybe.
Hasn't gone the second round yet. He hasn't seen the second round.
Oh, Lord.
Right.
No, but see, I understand what they're trying to do because, I mean, everyone here remembers what happened with, Fernando Vargas. How, like, when he started fighting, he was fighting, all the big cats really early in his career. And, it kind of like, I guess it messed him up because, he fought Trinidad and, that broke his chin. Then he fought De La Hoya. He fought all these big cats. I mean, I enjoy it, again, watching him knock people out. But at the same time, I'm afraid of, like, a situation where, like, he fights who's in his weight? What weight division is that? What, super middleweight?
Berlanga?
Yes. Yeah, Berlanga. So who's in that division? Aren't the Charlo brothers and all them and Benavidez around there?
Canelo,
Benavidez, yeah.
Okay, yes.
There's Caleb Plant.
See,
Daniel Jacobs.
See, like, my fear is that he's gonna, like, hell, I'm afraid that, like, for his sake, he were to call out Gabe Rosado because Gabe is hard to get out. What's gonna happen? Say he fights Gabe Rosado, and yes, do we accept the fact Gabe Rosado is not going to be the person, to win every fight? But the thing is, he's not hard to get. He's not easy to get out of the ring. And what's going to happen if he can't knock him out in the first 4 rounds?
Yeah, well, he hasn't been tested yet, obviously. So I think that the comparison is definitely an appropriate one.
But I ain't scared though. Like, just you know what it is with punchers.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing, man. I think people overanalyze punchers. Like, just enjoy the ride. That's all. Like, of course he's gonna lose one day. Yeah. That's what happens with punchers. I'm just gonna enjoy the ride, see how far he can take it.
Well, I'm gonna paraphrase Chairman Mao, who called the United States a paper tiger. And you look at what Eric was saying. It has the veneer of something spectacular. And this was definitely a step-up fight. Apparently, Samuel Taya had never been knocked down before, so he did knock him down multiple times and brutally knocked him out. He laid him out.
Right.
But like Joe said, the entire night, I was saying to myself, this kid gets hit too much. It happened literally in the last sequence. He got tagged right as he threw his combination. And it was happening prior to that as well. And yes, he might have a good chin, but what happens when he takes on a guy who can punch back and also who can take a shot as well? Because you're always going to find somebody who's got punch resistance that a previous opponent hasn't had. So I think that he shouldn't get rushed. He's still young, 21 years old. they should send them back to the gym and really work on keeping that right hand up, because he's a welterweight, and you can imagine him if he's taking on even a guy like Danny Garcia. What's going to happen if he drops that right and is wide open for a crisp left hook? So
the no look hook.
Yeah, but the talent is there. He's clearly got punching power, and I think that if they guide this kid, that he might be able to go somewhere. So we'll see. I mean, speaking of prospects, and I'm going to throw it to you, D-Style, on this one. Ring City is a new venture. It's been dropping on NBC. I don't know if you've seen all of the cards, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are so far on Ring City. They had a pretty good card last week. I actually watched it after the roundtable on Thursday. What are your thoughts of Ring City? And being a teacher here, I'm going to ask you to give it a grade, A through D through F.
Well, here's what I'm going to say. I can't really grade it. I'm going to be 100% honest, because outside of like highlights and stuff like that, I have not been watching Ring City, and I'll tell you why. But D-Style, you're supposed to be a hardcore boxing fan, D-Style. Look, I already give boxing, the Zone. I already give them Showtime, Fox. Okay, I've already give boxing a lot, bro. I give boxing women. I even watch the women now, So I already give a lot of my time to boxing. I buy pay-per-views. I roll your boat gently down the. I'll do that too sometimes. You know what I mean? But I'm inclined to watch it now because a lot of people are saying the cards have been good, but I have not been watching it. It's just another program, and how much more watered down can boxing get? Like I just think it's getting watered down. And I'm not saying these cards have been, but I have not watched any of them for that reason. It's got to be frank and upfront. I know. I'm gonna have to give you guys my hardcore boxing fan card. Okay, here you go. Right there. Right.
Well, I mean, the idea as it was presented to me, anyways, is that it is almost like a Showbox style venture where you see prospects taking on fellow prospects that are reasonably equally matched up. Has this been something that's excited you, Eric? Have you been tuning in?
No, not really. I mean, I watch the highlights of the fights and everything like that. Unless it's a big fight, which we're not going to see on that channel, on the NBC channel. What is it? NBC Sports it's on?
Yeah.
NBC Sports.
Yeah. I typically watch the highlights if it's a real good fight, like it wasn't the Brandon Adams was on that one, right? That was the Brandon Adams and
Brandon Adams.
Yeah, that one I watched the fight, but again, I watched it on delay. I watch it, but as far as a full card of that, it just doesn't interest me, and I think they have to put bigger names on there if you want people to watch. At the same time, though, it is a good showcase and it is a good platform for these guys. So if they get more money from being on TV, if they get more exposure from being on TV, I mean, I'm all for it. Yeah.
What about you, Joe? You've been staying up late out there in Boston to watch these cards during the week?
Some of them. For what it is, I think it's a good product. It's good to have an outlet for this level of fighters to be able to fight on. Now, a lot of times, you have the Zone, you have Showtime, you have Fox, but not everyone can get on those channels. So it's good for Brandon Adams to be able to have somewhere to go to fight and be on television. So in that regard, I think it's good. The fights aren't bad. They are what they are. I mean, when you look at the cards, I know what to expect, and I pretty much have gotten what I've expected from the cards. So I think if I was to grade the series, I would give it a B. I mean, because again, the fights are competitive. They're not all one-sided. You're having guys who are being matched up against each other who are pretty much on the same level. So you have some pretty decent matchups, and you have, I think, entertaining cards. Now, a lot of people aren't going to know everyone's name on the card, but you may see somebody and go, "Wow, that kid looks good. I'm gonna keep an eye on him." Sort of like how you did when you watch Showbox. When a lot of these guys on Showbox, no one really knew who they were, and then as time went on, Showbox was able to build them up. So this is a similar situation as you mentioned. comparing it to Showbox, where you have guys that can get built up, or guys that have been on other networks but can't really get fights and be on TV anymore. So again, this is another opportunity for them. So I think all in all, I think it's good for boxing to have another outlet to be able to watch the sport on, another platform.
But before I go to you, Big Rican, what I'm going to say is that I think it's always good when fighters get an opportunity to be on TV. Obviously, that's a great thing. And I think it's always good when fighters are matched. It's good for the fans when fights between prospects are relatively well matched. I remember much when back in my younger days, I'd watch Panchito Bojado just destroy dudes. I'm like, what are we really gaining from this here? The gap that I see here, and I agree with you, Joe, I'm going to give them a B. The gap I see here is that HBO KO Nation, when they tried to do this many years ago, they still had,
good Lord, KO Nation.
Right? That I guess the idea was you're on KO Nation, maybe you get to Boxing After Dark, and then you're World Championship Boxing. There's a progression. Showbox, you start on Showbox, then you end up on Showtime Championship Boxing. I don't see where you go from Ring City. What's the next step? Like, is NBC going to be putting on major cards that these guys can jump onto? I think that's kind of a gap that needs to be filled, because if you're just fighting in isolated one-off fights on Ring City on a Thursday night where a Millie in the Bronx needs to stay up until 11 to watch it, I don't know how sustainable that is. So, Rican, what are your thoughts?
For me, you can never get enough boxing. Never get enough. Like, I mean, as far as like if it's, you know, where you have to like, you know, pay for another subscription to have to watch it, then it is too much. Because, you know, like nowadays with everything being, you know, streamed online, subscriptions and everything, it makes it a lot harder because you're shelling out more money. Like, you know, just to get like, for me, like MMA card, like to get an ESPN, I mean, a pay-per-view for MMA, you have to shell out money for plus, and then on top of that, get the pay-per-view. So, you know, it's never enough. It's never enough as long as, you know, it's easy to access, because, you know, I'm going to throw it back to back when the Hailstorm Sports used to be on. Like these fights, like unless like it's somebody that like, you know, you guys talk about regularly, or, you know, is very hyped up, this is something I'm probably going to watch, you know, on the highlights, probably watch like, you know, the day after on record, that kind of thing. But I mean, it's really good. It's really good for them to get exposure, as long as, especially if it gets to national TV kind of thing. Because, you know, it's like you said, like sometimes these big time cards, you know, you'll have these undercards, you don't even get to see them fight, so you don't even get to know their names, that kind of thing. I mean, there's not much else, but just say that, you know, it's just really good to have another, you know, channel showing, you know, up and coming boxers. So at least you get to, you know who they are, you know, before they start going into Showtime, Showbox. You know, like you don't want to go into a pay-per-view. You're like, who the hell is this guy? I don't know. Like, I've never seen him fight. And I guess that was how I felt about PBC in a way when they first started. But, you know, then just turned this whole fiasco that's turned into.
I gotcha. So, look, the big news, heavyweight news that dropped today. And Joe, you're the resident expert on this. All things Tyson Fury here.
He's been wrong about everything, but yeah, he's the expert.
He did an upload, a live stream a few weeks ago when Tyson Fury seemed to be getting a little bit frustrated with this entire situation. Today, the news dropped that Tyson Fury is, you know, questioning this fight and saying that maybe his next fight will be against Wilder. Joe, what the hell's going on with
not another one.
And what are your thoughts here as it relates to Tyson Fury and what he's been saying recently?
Well, I've been very optimistic with Tyson Fury these last couple months, and he's got me discombobulated here. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to think. I don't know if he's saying these things and acting the way he's been acting, and kind of showing no interest right now in fighting Anthony Joshua. It seems like he's all over the place. Now he's talking about fighting Wilder again. I don't know if this is head games. I don't know if this is just him being him, but the guy is so volatile, and I just don't know what to think. And DStyle said this before, and he made a great point. he's never made a title defense. You know, the guy wins the titles and he never ends up defending his title. I think it's almost like it's bad for him to become champion because that's when things start going wrong for him. It's like he needs to have something to chase. Now he's the guy who people are chasing. He doesn't like that. He likes chasing. He likes being the dog chasing the rabbit. That's what he likes. He likes having those goals. But now he beat Wilder, and the next challenge is Anthony Joshua. So now he's saying things like, well, I don't want to get my hopes up high because if I start saying that the fight's going to happen and then it doesn't happen, then I'm going to go get depressed again and I'm going to have my mental health issues again. So I can't figure out what's going on right now. You got Eddie Hearn saying one thing, Bob Arum saying one thing, everyone's saying that it's close to being done, and Tyson Fury comes out and says that that's not the case. So I don't know who to believe. I really don't know who to believe. In terms of being right or wrong, I don't think anyone can be right or wrong when it comes to Tyson Fury because he doesn't even know what he's going to do next, to be perfectly honest with you. So trying to predict what Tyson Fury is going to do next is like trying to predict when the when the next solar eclipse is going to happen. You know, it's the same thing. So I don't know.
Shout out to Andre Rodriguez in the chat. He says maybe something is wrong with the contract they're about to sign, and Fury's putting the pressure on AJ by throwing Wilder in the discussion. Seems just like a basic strategy to me, but I could be wrong. Shout out to G Funky, Alexis, Raider, LA Boxing, Outlaw, JC, and Blood Boxing, Jaime, everybody else in the chat. Thank you for joining us tonight. Your viewership is always very much appreciated. D-Style, I know you've been wanting to see a trilogy with Fury and Wilder. Are you getting excited by this news? What are your thoughts on Fury's recent statements?
Well, first of all, I mean, like I've said plenty of times, I would prefer the Undisputed over that, of course.
Okay,
right. So I just want to make that clear. But yeah, but of course, you know. But he here's like what I'm kind of like trying to understand, because Beeb said, you guys hear what he said? Like, I know you guys heard what Beeb said. I know he did. Look, he said it's hard to predict it like a solar eclipse. Nah, we can actually, like, we know the day a solar eclipse is going to happen. We know the hour that it's going to happen. We know the minute and probably up to the second, although we might need to get some clarification on that.
So when's the next eclipse going to happen? So when's the next eclipse?
I don't know off the top of my head, but
know.
I know we know. I know I
you
can
don't
look
know.
it up. I can
Google
Google it. But here's my point.
You can't look it up on a weather report. You can't find it on a weather report.
But here's my point. We know when we're more sure when a solar eclipse is going to happen than when it's going to rain. I can tell you that right now. All right.
That's true.
Now, here's what I'll say. This dude, Tyson Fury, has a pattern of behavior. It's an erratic behavior. It is unpredictable, but the fact that he's unpredictable is predictable, right? This guy's never, ever defended a title.
Never.
Ever. Like that. That is alarming.
D-Style, I'm sorry.
Alarming.
He defended.
Alarming.
He defended the against Pianetta. He defended the championship. Safet Safari, lineal heavyweight championship of the world. Back to you.
Nah, we can't give him that. We can't give him that.
Was it invisible too when he held it up or what? That
we
one?
Can't give him that.
But here's my problem, guys. Okay. Here's the issue and the problem and why a lot of people are just giving Fury a pass right now. Okay. He's trying to get, like, if he doesn't do this fight, he's ducking at AJ, and I'm saying it, okay? But he's getting a pass because he's getting accused of cheating. He's getting accused of putting egg weights in his glove and all this other ridiculous bullshit that people are overlooking the real bullshit, all right? This guy's never defended a belt, ever.
Never.
Ever. I mean, that's just the truth. And that first fight with Wilder, like, let me tell you something. It was a draw, and he still didn't do it immediately. He fought like 2 more times, and then the dude, like, you know, and then he fought. And credit to him, he beat Wilder, right? But he's not a consistent dude. Fury's not consistent.
He's not.
Joe,
that's why I doubted the fact that he's going to fight AJ. I mean, I'm just doubting it right now. I think he's avoiding the fight. Yeah. I think he knows what D-Style knows. This dude knows AJ's problems for him, and you guys know it. He knows it. He's not going to worry about one punch against AJ. He's got to worry about the hook. He's got to worry about the uppercut. He's got to worry about the jab when he out-jabbed the jabber in his last fight, right? And he doesn't have the confidence to go back to back to back, taking tough competition like a Canelo Alvarez. He just doesn't have that confidence. That's just the truth, okay? This dude has mental lapses. He cannot keep it consistent. He can. He could put it together really nice for one fight, but then guess what? He doesn't want to fight Klitschko right away because he just can't put it together back to back. When has this guy done it back to back? He's never done it.
Can I finally answer that, D-Style? Because while you were speaking,
ahead.
He made back-to-back defenses of the lineal championship against Tom Schwartz and Otto Wallin. Back-to-back.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rick, I'll let you pick it up from there, bro.
Look, Beeb sent me an article saying that something about, what was it, Beeb, that Tyson Fury's drinking like 12 pints a day. You know, he's at the bars, he's having a good time, he's drinking 12 pints a day, he's putting on weight. Yeah. Bottom line is, listen, I don't care. I don't care. Listen, man, he's earned the right to do what he wants. Listen, I can't make the guy fight. I can't make him want to go out there and win the championship again. You can't do it, you know? So he's going to do what he's going to do. And this is the Tyson Fury blueprint. He always does what he wants to do. He wants to fight Wilder, he'll fight Wilder. He wants to fight AJ, he's going to fight AJ. If he doesn't want to fight at all, he won't fight at all.
Yeah.
You know? So, I mean, there's nothing any of us can do about it. There's nothing any of us can say about it. It's got to be on him, man. It really does. It's his deal.
There actually is.
He's done. He's done, and I'm good with it.
Here's what we can say about it, Eric. There's only one Tyson
Fury.
That's it, man.
I know Eric is saying that everyone gives him a pass, but the thing about him, though, too, you have to give him credit for this. He always comes back and does win when people don't think he can.
This is true.
He's done it. He's done it 3 or 4 times already. You know, he came. No one expected, even after his performance in the first Wilder fight, everyone was still picking Wilder in the rematch.
Yeah,
and he was even an underdog in that fight. I think a lot of people on this panel, if I'm not mistaken, picked Wilder to beat Fury in the rematch, and it didn't happen. So,
not me.
No, you and I think we're the only ones on this panel that didn't. I don't know. Yeah, everyone else picked Wilder. But the thing is this, you know, I get what Eric is saying because he's never defended the title, and he lets a lot of people down. I mean, people expect he'll have a beautiful performance, and then he has all that momentum, and he just squanders that momentum. I agree with everything D-Style is saying, but along with that unpredictability is he'll come out of nowhere and just put on a virtuoso performance when you don't expect it. He's always in crisis mode, and even in being in crisis mode, he still rises to the occasion and gets it done.
Joe, I'm gonna say this. I think he thrives in crisis mode. I think crisis mode is what gets him.
He's a crazy maker. You know, you ever hear that term, crazy maker? Or someone that likes chaos around them. Someone that needs to have chaos around them at all times, or they don't feel right.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's what he needs. That's absolutely what he thrives on. This afternoon, I did my show, and I'll just plug it right now. Subscribe to Maestro A. Look me up. I had D from Speak Your Mind Sports Talk join me, and he told me something that literally had me laughing out loud. He says that what he thinks is going to happen is that Tyson Fury's going to fight Joshua and then immediately drop all of the titles. So there will be absolutely no chance that Joshua will ever get to see his dream of being undisputed again, because it will take him so long to collect all the belts. I'm laughing at it now, but
that is petty.
But I can actually see him doing something like that because of like what you said, Eric. He's Tyson Fury. He does what the fuck he wants. Rican, your thoughts, bro?
I mean, what are we talking about here? That he's ducking, or that he likes chaos, or
is he creating chaos? Is he ducking? Is he frustrated about the negotiations? Why is he now mentioning the fact that he's skeptical about this fight taking place, and that he's essentially drinking beers every day and has stopped training?
Yeah, take your pick. Pick one of them.
Jesus, geez, you're giving me a lot there.
Lots to unpack, but you pick one of them. Do it one by one.
Is he ducking? Is he ducking him? Hey! Oh, I see what you're doing there. Pick one art. Okay. Shit. Do I think he likes to create chaos? I mean, look at what he did. He went from being a fat guy who was all over on the cocaine and everything, damn near pit. What was he, like 400 pounds? Damn near. Ended up almost killed himself, and then what does he do? He comes back, loses all that weight, and ends up coming back all the way back to fight Deontay Wilder. And, I mean, granted, I feel like he's doing it again with the whole beer situation, but I don't know. He's just too unpredictable. It's just like his fighting style. It's too unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do.
I'm gonna throw in another thing. He could be playing mind games with
Eddie Hearn. He could be playing mind games with Eddie Hearn.
It's like what my man Andre said in the chat. He could be trying to get something extra in the contract. Maybe there's something he doesn't like. You guys all remember the Batman incident? I mean, when he showed up in Germany dressed as Batman and was running all over like the conference center or whatever. He specifically did that to get into Klitschko's head. He specifically did that to fuck up Klitschko's mind. Like, it's not beyond me to think that this is all part of the gamesmanship of the mind games, the psychological aspect of the sport. I mean, this goes way, way back. I mean, it goes back to Ali Liston, and I mean, I'm sure it goes back way further than that. Eric, you don't see that as being a possibility?
No, I mean, honestly, when you look at things, sometimes the best explanation is what you're looking at. I mean, that's it. I don't think there's any conspiracy theories or anything like that. I remember when Andy Ruiz fought Anthony Joshua for the second time, when he got on that scale, Beeb was like, oh, it's a mind game. He's playing games. He's not really that heavy. He's got weights in his pocket, blah, blah, blah. And he shows up and he takes his robe off, and listen, the guy didn't train. And it was pretty plain to see. And I think the same thing here, man. You're looking at pictures of him in bars and everything like that. And it just is what it is. He's a head case. He comes back and he's weighing like 270. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. This is. I mean, it's not like this is a brand new thing for him. Skitzing out after he wins a title or before a big fight. I mean, it's not a brand new thing. This has happened before. We've seen it play out.
But in fairness,
sounds like John Jones in MMA.
But in fairness, that sombrero weighed at least 5 pounds. You gotta admit that. Come on.
I'll never forget that day. Beep calls me up and he was like, "Oh no, it's a mind game. There's no way."
Yeah, the extra burritos too.
He weighed in with his clothes on and everything. Like I said, because he's heavy. He doesn't want to take his clothes off when he weighs in. He doesn't look good.
He had about 8 pounds. He had about 8 pounds of clothes on. He was really like 270.
Pounds of clothes. Yeah, but about 30 pounds of burritos on him, I mean, it was,
they doctored
that. Yeah, Huey Fury dressed as Robin.
But I mean, there was another famous story about Fury.
Oh man,
being part of a Klitschko camp, and the two of them just being in a sauna. And apparently it was Klitschko's thing. This is Vladimir, that he'd outlast everyone in the sauna. And Klitschko just made it a point of, Fury just made it a point of sitting there in the sauna, refusing.
He talks about it with on the
until basically Vladimir had to go. Guys, I'm sorry, I keep having to mute my tablet. I keep getting notifications of Governor Cuomo and his allegations that they've been coming nonstop since the show started. So
yeah, I'm from Florida. We never have any kind of scandals.
No, not at all.
Never.
The whole state is a scandal. All right, like,
We're open for business.
Texas is open for business. There's no mask requirement, no distancing. Everything's open. So I guess that's open for boxing too. But yeah, any last thoughts? Anyone on Fury and what's going on here?
look, you know what? This dude has been a thorn on my side here on YouTube for the last like 7-8 years. Okay, I predicted him to beat Vladimir Klitschko. He didn't listen and he won. Okay. And then I picked him to lose to Wilder twice. Right. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to be wrong with a third fighter. I got Anthony Joshua. I think Joshua's the one to beat him. Okay. I can't be wrong with 3 fighters in a row. It just can't happen. Okay.
Yeah.
I got Fury all day. I'm sorry. Well, I got AJ all day. Every day. He doesn't want to fight AJ. He doesn't want to fight him. Okay? He wants AJ to take tough fights. He's going to do dumb little fights on the side. All right? And he wants to fight him when he feels ready and prepared or gives himself some stupid, weird motivation to do it. All right?
Isn't AJ a big dasser though? I thought that he's been going for that, but
he's a bulldozer. I think that's what he meant to say. He's a bulldoze through him.
I think we're seeing a lot of the same thing right now with Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo. To be honest, like just talking a lot of shit.
He's got the flu, bro.
And trying to get any kind of psychological advantage they can going into their
Oh no, I think Billy Joe Saunders. I think he got Canelo.
You think he beats Canelo?
I just want to see if DStyle gets triggered. Hell no, I don't think it's going to beat Canelo.
Eyebrow raising statement right there. And speaking about,
oh man, I'm gonna bullshit. Go ahead.
Speaking about eyebrow raising statements, I'm sure like you, I'm no different in this regard. Or maybe I'm different because I have an Android phone. Maybe it's different on iPhone. But I get alerts from Google every morning. I get my little news report. I wake up. I read it. I make my coffee. I get ready for my day. And it's pretty much every other day I get reports about Benavidez calling out Charlo. Now, my personal view is that it's quite weird for a guy that last time attempted to make 168 pounds, failed, and is calling out a guy at 160. Maybe I'm off on that. Why is David Benavidez calling out Jermell Charlo? And does this make any sense at all to you? D-Style, I'm going to start with you.
Yes, it does. It makes perfect sense. Look, guys, okay? Here's what we can't do. We can't be telling Charlo, hey, man, you don't fight anybody. When are you going to fight somebody? You want to fight Canelo? Fight somebody. Come on. Benavidez would be that somebody, and if he beats Benavidez, then it makes a Canelo fight very lucrative. Let's stop acting like it wouldn't. It would. Let's stop criticizing the guy. Let me tell you something. I've criticized Jamal, all right? And I'm going to stay consistent. I wanted to fight a live body, okay? Derenchenko was one of them. I give him credit for that win. And if he moves up to 168 and fights the dude that everybody's saying is the boogeyman, I'm going to give him credit for that. And it's a fight I will support, and it's a fight every single dude in this panel will watch. I don't give a damn what any of you say next. Or you'll be front row and everything. By the way, has anybody pointed out your cat or not? I don't even know your cat's popped up, but that's not here nor there.
Wait. Which brother did he call? Which Charles brother did he call out? Jermell or Jamal?
Well, Jamal
brother.
Or Jamal at 160. He's called out Jamal.
Okay, Jamal. Okay, I thought we were talking about Jermell because I actually like Jermell more so than Jamal.
Really?
Well, everybody does because he's doing his thing. But back to Jamal. Yes, Jamal versus Benavidez. I want to see it. Makes total sense to me.
Eric, what are your thoughts on this?
I like it. I like the fight. I think it's a good fight. I'd like to see it. But I'd like to see it made. I'd like to see it made. I wouldn't like to see a Twitter battle on it, which is what we've been getting the past few months with just about everybody. Just getting, who was it? Tank Davis calling out Ryan Garcia or whatever the case may be. Everything's going on Twitter. We got great fights on Twitter. Everybody's a great matchmaker on Twitter until it comes to actually, making the fight and signing the contract that everybody loses their pen. So, listen, I don't care. As long as the fight gets made, but somebody fights somebody here.
God, Joe Habib.
I'm hearing a lot of people complaining that he's calling out Charlo, but I think it's a great fight. I don't understand why anyone would have a problem with it. Charlo, I think, could definitely fight at 168, and eventually he's probably going to move up to 168. I don't think that's a stretch to believe that Charlo can't fight at 168. And, it's not Benavidez's fault that he can't get fights at 168. Also, because a lot of these guys are tied up. I think Canelo's got the division on lock right now, and everyone's going to be fighting Canelo before they fight David Benavidez. So David Benavidez said, "I got to get in line." So I might as well try to fight someone that's a tough opponent for myself. I got to get my name back in the mix, and this would be a great fight to get me back in the mix.
Well, it sounds like I'm going to be the only person who does not and who is going to take a different view on this.
You're going to be that dude that shows up to the party and says, "Hey, guys, no drinking," right?
Hey, the guy didn't make
Don't be that guy.
The guy didn't make 168 pounds in his last fight. He failed at the scales. He lost his title at 168 for being overweight. I like Benavidez. But why the fuck are you calling out a 168 pounder when you couldn't even make 168? Why are you not?
You mean a 160 pounder?
Yeah, sorry, a 160 pounder. Thank you very much for correcting me. You know who I would like to hear him calling out? Why don't you start calling out some light heavyweights? Why don't you call out Baturviev, maybe Bivol? I'd even want you to call out like a John Pascal. How about a Ramirez, Gilberto Ramirez? Why don't you call him out? I mean, these are names at 175. I don't like it when guys punch down like that. I like it when they punch up. It's a problem I had with Triple G, to be honest, and others that like pick up guys from lower weight divisions and call out guys in lower weight divisions. Like I will say that I would like to see Charlo face other middleweights. But my question to all of you guys is, do you really think Triple G wants anything to do with a fight with Charlo right now? I don't think he does. So, and the other fight, obviously, for Charlo would be Andrade at 160. And I'd be all for watching that fight. I think that's a good fight, actually. But I just think it's super ironic and hypocritical, to be honest with you, for a guy who couldn't make 168 pounds, who's essentially a light heavyweight until he proves us otherwise, to be calling out a middleweight. And anyways, Big Rican, I don't think you got a whole lot of time on this, so I'll let you finish if you have any other thoughts.
Okay, so as far as for Benavidez, does it make sense for him to be doing the calling out? No, because again, he's calling out a guy who's at 160, more than likely telling him to move up, because obviously he wouldn't be able to make 160 because he already fell at 168. As far as profile wise, I mean, it is a good choice because the Charlo brothers are they are a name as far as like where to like kind of get a name on another name on his resume. But I think for as far as that fight, I think it makes more sense for Jamal to take the fight. Because especially since because if I remember, he's the one that's really pushing for a Canelo fight. And, what better way than to go up and weight and then take out a potential, a guy who comes in as a light heavyweight. I mean, for Charlo, it makes sense. For Benavidez, it's kind of hypocritical and just ironic because you couldn't even make the weight that you want this guy to come up.
Look, guys.
Let's hear it.
No, let me tell you something.
I'll watch the fight though. I'll watch the fight. It's just that I'm just saying for Benavidez, it doesn't make any sense.
Look, listen to me, okay? Charlo was going around, okay, and then everyone's ducking me tour, and nobody wants to fight me tour, and well, if I move up and I fight him, I can knock him out, and all this and that. So then the word got to Benavidez, and Benavidez said, "Oh, he thinks he can knock me out? Okay, move up and wait and fight me then. I'll fight you." They were not expecting him to say, "Yes, I'll fight you." Okay, let's do it. All right. They were not expecting him and his father to go on multiple social media shows saying, "Yeah, let's do the fight." And I don't see what the big deal is. He just missed weight. And if Charlo moves up, it's not like he's a champion. It's a really good fight to make for him to earn a shot at getting another title. It makes all the sense in the world. All right. And if you keep knocking at the devil's door, the devil will answer the door at some point. All right. He knocked on that door and Benavidez opened it. All right.
He was.
He called Benavidez out. Benavidez said, "Okay, you're yapping. Then let's do it then." And then he punked out. I got to keep hearing Charlo fans say that Canelo's ducking him all the time. So when a dude said, "Let's do it," and he ducks it, I'm going to call him out on it. I'm going to say it's a great fight to make. Let's make the fight then. You want to run your mouth? Let's make the fight then.
Well, I had somebody tell me that on Twitter. They didn't show me any article or a tweet from Charlo saying that. So, look, I'm open to being corrected on this if Charlo's the one who called him out. To me, it makes sense if you're Charlo, if Benavidez actually has something at 168, like a title. These days, this era, it's all about, winning belts in multiple weight divisions. But to go up to fight a guy who doesn't have a title, who didn't make weight the last time he tried to make the weight, I just don't really see much point of it. And maybe it's because I like Zurdo Ramirez and I haven't seen him in a while. And then I don't know what the hell's going on with Zurdo Ramirez's career. That, that's the kind of fight I'd like to see Zurdo get. That could be part of it too. It's like there's so many guys at 178 that I have not, 175, 178 is what I fought at as an amateur. That's a different class. 175 who are not getting fights. So if anything, I think he should go to 175. But if Charlo called him out first, and I'm wrong on this, and it is what it is. Any last thoughts? All right.
Don't be a punk and fight Benavidez. You said you can knock him out. All right. Simple as that. You're both with PBC. There's literally no roadblock in front of that fight. None.
They're both with the PBC. So look, big fight weekend. Small guys, but big weekend. I, for one, am super happy to see that over the last few years, we've been starting to see more fights below 122 pounds, 126 pounds being televised. I'm still upset about the fact that I was looking through Japanese streams and having to translate shit to find the last Taioka fight. But I'm happy about Gonzalez and Estrada. It's going to be a great rematch. Let's get into our fight predictions. I'm going to start with you, Joe. What are your thoughts about this fight and who do you have winning it?
I like Estrada. I think Estrada's looked better as of late. I think Gonzalez has some miles on him. He looks a little bit shop-worn to me. Still good, but not as good as he was. In his last fight, I thought that he looked a little bit off. He won the fight, but he looked a little bit off. He went the distance with someone that he probably should have got out of there. He was still getting hit more than I thought that he should. And I think, he's been in some tough fights over the years. He's been stopped a couple of times. I think it took a lot out of him. I think Estrada is going to win. I think Estrada looks a little sharper, like I said. I think Estrada, even in the first fight, I thought that he made a good account of himself. Some think he won that fight. I thought it was competitive, but I think Gonzalez edged him. But I just think that we got one guy going up and another guy going down, because at both guys at their best, it's a competitive fight that could go either way. But now that I think one guy's kind of going down a little bit, I think that Estrada will have that edge because of that. I think that'll push him over the top. And I just think Estrada, I think he's a little more versatile. I think he's better defensively. I think he can counterpunch a little bit. I think he's quicker on his feet, and I think he's a good inside fighter. But I think Gonzalez is kind of he has that mentality where he likes to swarm his opponents, and he sometimes gets in firefights and stays in that pocket too long. I think Estrada is a little bit more cerebral, and he fights a little bit more defensively responsible. I think he fights at a steady pace where sometimes Gonzalez puts on much pressure too early, and a lot of times he'll fade late in fights. So I just think Estrada is going to win this fight, and I wouldn't be surprised if Estrada stops him late. I'm going to say Estrada stops him in 9 rounds.
Eric.
I like Estrada in this as well. I think Estrada wins a decision over Chocolatito. Chocolatito is definitely on the slide. I think he's still a good fighter. Don't get me wrong. He's very, very good. I can't see him winning this fight. I can't see him knocking him out, and I can't see him winning on points. I think Estrada is going to be a little bit too much for him this time around.
D-Style.
Well, here's what I'll say, man. They fought the first time they fought was about 7 pounds south of where they're fighting this weekend, and I think at that weight, Chocolatito, he was more acclimated to that weight, I believe. I think Estrada at this current weight where they're at right now, the superfly division, I think he looks more natural at this weight. He looks stronger at this weight. He could punch at this weight. And not only that, I mean, this is a guy that can also box on the move. He could box on the front foot. He's a very versatile fighter, a pound-for-pound quality fighter, in my opinion. All right? And Chocolatito, although I admire the fact that he's come back from a devastating knockout, and won a world title again, and now here he is about to fight who I believe is the best in the division, and possibly, have an opportunity. I mean, this could be a swan song for him, right? He wins this fight, it's a great way to go out. You know what I mean? But I don't think he's gonna go out like that in a blaze of glory. Okay, I think he's gonna go down in a blaze, but not of glory. I think it's gonna be a war. I think it's gonna be a fight of the year candidate. I think Chocolatito is, and this is per his trainer, is very focused in this fight. And he's obviously they're taking it really serious. I'm sure he's coming in with some confidence since he has a win over him, although that was years ago. And I'm sure he's gonna bring it and bring it hard. You know what I mean? But Chocolatito's reflexes have just dwindled a little bit, in my opinion. And while some people say that about Estrada, I just don't see it. I think Estrada is hitting his stride right now. I think he's as good as ever, if not better than ever. You know what I mean? So that's how I feel about it, brother. Estrada. El Gallo! You know what I mean?
We're 3 for 3 with El Gallo right now. You going to break this here, Big Rican?
Well, he's not going to go for the Mexican. It's Puerto Rican. Look, watch.
I'm gonna go with D-Style on that one. I'm gonna go with the man from Nicaragua. But as I'll admit that I don't watch the 115 division or like the lower divisions like I should, or at least that low, like around. I'll admit it. You're my boxing card.
Okay, so
First the women.
Flaca, it's okay, Flaca. It's okay.
First the women, now 115. Oh no!
Trying to get a date with Flaca, bro. Look at this dude.
Your girlfriend's down the stream, man. Calm down. But anyway,
Right,
I will say that I did that as far as like the fights and everything. I did watch the first Chocolatito. Juan Francisco Estrada fight. I did watch those two, and then as well as when, goddamn, how do you say his first name? Sungun Regonvisai, Regonvisai. I know how to say his last name, but his first name,
Regonvisai. Yeah,
That's right. That's right.
But I would say, man, because Chocolatito also, in the lighter divisions, and you guys, I mean, you can attest to it. Like these are guys that are, smaller fighters. So when they get up there in age, and especially like when they're going through a lot of wars, they're going to slow down.
Yes.
And it's not like heavyweight fighters where they could slow down, but like George Foreman, but they have the power to still be competitive. I just feel like Chocolatito, even though like he's won the titles or anything, and you guys, like I said, it was 7 pounds south of where they're at right now. And this is an older Chocolatito after one war with Regan Visay and getting knocked out in the 4th round. Now, granted, Estrada also, he lost to Regan Visay, but it was to a decision. It wasn't like, this is like a horrible loss, horrible loss or anything. I don't know. I'm assuming that Chocolatito's gonna, come in prepared. He's gonna be at his A game. If he's gonna win, it's gonna be a decision. It's gonna be a close one.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna say, Duval. It's gonna be 4-1 here. So it's 4-1, and maybe you'll. Anyways, I was gonna knock on you a little bit for the 115 thing, but I won't. So here's the thing. Look, I've seen him fight twice at the Garden. All right, live. Good seats too. He's been in more than one war. The Brian Valoria fight was a fucking war. Trust me, I was there. All right. The fight with Sor Rungvisai, like you alluded to, was a war. Again, I was at that one. And he's been in multiple wars since then. And like you said, a Big Rican, 33 years old is quite old for a guy at 115 pounds. One of the reasons I've always liked watching the little guys, way back to when I was a kid watching Johnny Tapia, is because of the speed, the timing, the footwork, the punching combinations, right? The reaction time. You need all of that. And that's all stuff that slides as you age. And like you said, look, 33 is quite old for this weight class. And Estrada is right kind of at the cusp of the end of his prime at 30 for this weight. Chocolatito's taken a lot of punishment. And he has not taken on an elite 115 pounder in my eyes. People can dispute whether or not Kai Yafai is a elite 115 pounder. I don't think that's proven. What is proven is that Quadras is, and that's who Estrada just fought. Okay, if Chocolatito had knocked out that dude Gonzalez in his last fight, I'd have a little bit more confidence in his chances. But that kid Gonzalez took him the distance, took him 12 rounds, and touched him up repeatedly. And when I was watching that fight, the entire time I was like, yo, what if Estrada was this kid? What if Estrada was in that fight? What if Estrada was up in his chest, hitting him with body shots and uppercuts and touching him? It's an impossibility that he pulls it out and makes a total comeback from that brutal knockout that we all saw to Sor Rungvisai. But the likelihood for me here is that the younger guy, the fresher guy, the guy who's fought the elite competition in his last recent fights is going to be prepared, and is going to be prepared to win, because it's also a rematch for him, and he's got that too. He wants some get back, right? And last time he fought this dude, he was really young. So I got Estrada in this fight, and then we get the rubber match with Sor Rungvisai, as far as I'm concerned, because those guys are 1-1, and the rubber match for that should be a good one. So I'm going to ask if there's any other thoughts on this fight. And then also what I want to ask, and I'll start with you, D-Style, is matchups that you'd like to see at 115. I think you're on mute, D.
Let me say this. So shout out to Ignorant Boxing, by the way. Yes, hit the subscribe, right? Check it out. You see, El Gallo, a.k.a. the Rooster, right? They ain't found a way to kill him yet, right? Let me tell you guys something, right? You guys hear the song before, right?
What is that, an A-track?
Right?
What's up with that
I'll
sound
tell you
system?
guys
Get the,
right now, right?
the sound game, will you?
He ain't going to die, right? Well, I can't play clear now, okay? YouTube now. Okay, but they ain't found the way to kill him yet. He's going to advance. Let me tell you something. This is a big fight for Gallo. because if he wins this fight, he'll be up in Lennox Lewis territory where he's avenged all his losses. You know what I mean? So this is a big fight for him. All right. So maybe, all right. But they ain't found a way to kill him yet. That's all I want to say about that for now.
What I'm going to say is that I truly expect
like Teddy Atlas on that one.
I expect Chocolatito to give it his all. And if he does go out, he's going to go out swinging. He lays it all on the line in his fights, which is why I'm expecting this fight to be must-see TV and an early candidate for fight of the year. So
he ain't as good as he once was, but he could be good once as he ever was.
I didn't know that D-Style was such a prophet, but yes.
That's a country song. But anyway, go ahead.
Is that a fortune cookie?
Yeah, Joe Habib, thoughts on this fight? Thoughts on the 115-pound division? We spoke earlier that on a recent episode you were converted into a huge fan of the 115-pound division. You were influenced into that way of thinking. So I know you're a huge fan of 115. So I'd like you to just tell us some fights at 115 that you'd like to see, obviously, in addition to this one.
Flacca's watching.
Well, this is the fight right here. Maybe a rematch, or maybe Rungvisai gets the winner of this fight. That wouldn't be a bad matchup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, the other fight is Ioka waiting in for this, because he's obviously another champion in this division, and there's
like that guy?
But I'm a huge fan of Ioka and what he did to Tanaka with that hook knockout.
Let's ask a more challenging question, right? Yeah. So Beeb, do you believe that the winner of this fight against Rungvisai is the best fight to make in his weight class?
It's debatable. It's debatable.
LDUB beat Quadras Tanaka. I like that fight a lot at 115. That's a good one.
The reason why I like the fact that both of these guys fought Rungvisai before, and I wouldn't mind seeing like a trilogy if when Estrada wins. I kind of like those rivalry things, like the Pacquiao Marquez type things, you know. The Marquez, what was the other fight there at the 122 pounds? That the four fights.
Vasquez Marquez.
Yeah, I like that. Okay. I like that rivalry. I like rivalries like that, to be honest with you.
So you were a big fan of the Tim Bradley Pacquiao trilogy, then?
Of course. Love Tim Bradley. I picked Tim Bradley to win the first fight. I made some money.
All right, so for me, another fight I'd like to see in this weight class is Maloney Franco. A lot of unfinished business there. You know, they reviewed that tape for about 30 minutes and came to a conclusion that a phantom headbutt caused that cut. So, yeah, Eric, I'm going to throw it to you. What do you? Go ahead.
I was going to say that they're still looking at the footage right now.
Yeah, so for me, Franco Maloney is another one. Eric?
Yes, I think that to me, the best fight to make would be the winner of this weekend's fight between Chocolatito and Estrada. The winner faces Anacajas.
There we go.
I think that's a good fight. I really do. I like watching Jerwin fight. Every time he fights, it's always must see. I think that's a great fight. I think he's the best fighter in the division. I'll be honest.
Really?
Yes.
Wow, that's a big statement. That's the biggest statement made all night.
but he's not, so it's all good.
Well, maybe we'll be able to find that out pretty soon, hopefully.
But the thing is, guys, I'm honestly a believer that these unification fights and undisputed fights are probably easier to make in the lower weight classes because the purses are a little smaller. You know, the fighter's a little bit more reasonable, that you don't hear as much bullshit about this street and that street and who the fuck is crossing a street and Sesame Street and everything else. So are you, Joe?
I bet you the winner of this fight's going to fight Rungvisai. He's waiting in the wings. I know you guys want to write Rungvisai off, but I'm not ready to do that.
I'm not writing him off.
I'm not ready to do that.
Wasn't he the one having girl problems or whatever? Isn't he the one where his girl left him or something like that, and he just had a breakdown and he couldn't?
That's why I can relate to the guy. That's why I can relate to the guy. I mean, I have that's why I can relate to Tyson Fury. Sometimes I have issues like Tyson Fury, Rungvisai. I can resonate with these two guys.
Do a little much too much drinking, girl problems.
No drinking. Beeb is clean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, 115 is definitely a hot division.
The best fight to make is Ioka versus Estrada. It's not even close.
I don't even think so. I don't think so.
I'm with D-Style all the way. As much as I'd like to see Rungvisai run it back with Estrada, I don't really think there's a reason for him to run it back with Gonzalez. He's 2-0, including a vicious, savage knockout.
Well, he's gonna fight Estrada next. I'm just telling you, that's the fight that's gonna happen.
Wait. But what if, by the miracle of the old man's strength, Chocolatito viciously knocks out Estrada?
He'll fight Rungvisai.
Would you be like running back with Rungvisai?
Yes.
If he puts on a virtuoso performance like a Mosley versus Margarito.
Yeah.
Then would you be more interested in Rungvisai?
I think Rungvisai should get the winner of this fight, to be perfectly honest with you. That's just my opinion.
Can I ask a question real quick here? If Chocolatito wins, if he wins this weekend, does he hang it up?
He's going to hang it up when he loses, I think. This is going to be his last fight.
You think either way?
He'll either hang it up after this fight if he were to win, or Rungvisai.
I literally asked that to his trainer. I asked him if they win this fight, it'll be a great swan song. And they said they're not even talking about that right now. One fight at a time, which tells me it's possible.
Yeah.
Right.
They would have immediately just said no if they thought that it wasn't going to be the case.
Exactly.
I agree with you. Great interview style. I like that.
Well, we'll see where things go. Phone lines are open if anyone wants to call in. 718-618-4284. Once again, it's 718-618-4284. And I put the Skype over there because in the past we have had international viewers here that have joined us. So that's it for the 115 pounders. I'm going to throw in another fight into the mix. It is the heavyweight division. It is considered the premier division in the sport. And it is a fight that's taking place later this month that I'm also looking forward to. And I'm talking about the rematch that has been rescheduled a few times now between Alexander Povetkin and Dillian White. Now, Dillian White's gone back to the drawing board. He's hired a trainer out of Lennox Lewis's past in Coach Knight, and he's preparing out there in Portugal for this rematch. You guys expect to see a different Dillian White, and what are your expectations so far as that fight looms in the near future? I'll start with you, Eric.
I don't know. I like the fight. I don't know what to make about him changing trainers and everything like that. I thought he was doing really well until he got clipped last fight. I don't know. I think it's a toss-up fight. I really do. It's one of those things that, you go back and you watch it again and you watch it and you could see it. You could almost see that knockout coming. Both guys can put each other away. I think White can win by knockout. I think obviously Povetkin can win by knockout. It's just a solid toss-up fight. It really is.
Before, just really quick, I just want to give a shout out to Alexis for the earlier super sticker of $3. Boxing Days says always great show. I appreciate that super chat of $5 as well. And Big Dog Willie, shout out to you for that $1 super chat. Go ahead.
Absolutely. No, I was just going to agree with you, Eric. When I was watching the fight live, I'll admit it right now, I did not see the Povetkin knockout coming. I actually jumped up out of my seat. to me, it came out of nowhere. Especially the way he just landed. It's one of those shots where he landed it, and the guy was unconscious on impact and stiffened up immediately and was out. But it's funny that you mentioned that when you rewatch it, you can kind of see the knockout developing.
I think because I know it's coming. It's
there were things in there that Povetkin was doing, right? And what he did to force that was a very subtle shift from a hook to the body into an uppercut, because he'd been working the body. He had Dillian Whyte thinking that he was going to go to the body again. He opened up the head and boom, knocked him out with the uppercut. Joe, from what you've been hearing so far in terms of Whyte, in terms of the training switch, in terms of his camp, are you expecting a good fight, or are you expecting a different kind of fight?
I think it's going to be a fight that's similar to the first fight, but the thing is, Dillian Whyte, that could always happen to him because, again, he's got a kill or be killed type style. It happened to him against Joshua, and you even saw Chisora was really landing some good shots and rocking him too. So it's hard to just say that Povetkin's going to lose this fight and Whyte's just going to come back and do what he did and just not get hit with that big shot, because there's always the chance that he can get hit with that big shot. So I think this fight is intriguing because obviously everyone's going to be saying, was that a fluke, that punch? But you can't really call it a fluke, because as you articulated very perfectly, the way he set it up was very strategic. It wasn't like one of those close your eyes type of Hail Mary type punches. He set that punch up, and he was landing a lot of body shots early in that fight. Or not early in that fight, but in that fight, because the fight ended early. But he was landing body shots. So again, he's going to still, I would imagine, go to the body. That's going to be a big part of his game plan in the second fight. So to me, it's a pick 'em fight. So
yeah, at this point, it absolutely is, and I'm going to be very interested. Before I just head back to you, DStyle. Dillian Whyte's physique and the level of his fitness is always an issue to me. I remember that card in Saudi Arabia. As bad as Andy Ruiz looked, Dillian Whyte looked even worse. I don't know if you guys remembered this, but he did not look good out there in the dunes in that fight on the AJ undercard. So
he was shredded.
No, he was not shredded. Unless you consider the Michelin Man to be Mr. Olympia, he did not look good. And for me, it's an issue with him because I often find that he kind of looks like he's overweight and kind of on the cusp of being in shape and being fat. I was not impressed with his level of fitness either in the Oscar Rivas fight. And Oscar Rivas is a guy that's lurking around the heavyweight division that's still going to be coming back soon. I believe he's fighting next week in Montreal in the comeback fight. And I'd like to see where he goes as well. So, yeah, the weigh-in is going to be super instrumental, at least for me, in terms of picking a winner. And right now I'm with you. I think it's kind of a 50-50 scenario. D-Style, what are your thoughts?
Hey, D-Style, you're muted.
You're on mute.
Yeah, that's fine. It was definitely a very satisfying feeling watching Dillian Whyte get knocked out by Alexander Povetkin. Okay. And let me tell you why, because I still, people talk about glove gate and all this other shit. The real glove gate was what happened in the UK. Okay. When Russ Abner was literally not allowed to inspect the gloves. Okay. That were not at the glove selection meeting. All right, there were different pair of gloves. They did a switcheroo. It was not the backup pair or anything like that, right? And all he asked was, okay, that's fine. You can wear those fly gloves. Let me just look at them. And they told him, no. They said, you cannot look at them, all right? That's the real glove gate, all right? Now, was there something wrong with the gloves? I have no clue. Okay, nobody knows because Russ Abner was not allowed to look at them. The reason I say all that all right, is simply because, look, man, I cannot stand this dude. Like I can't stand Dillian White. He laughs at people that get knocked out, and like he's just an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? And I can't stand assholes like that, right? And
So you laughed when he got knocked out?
yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. But that's because of the type of dude he is. But in all seriousness, man, look, who's gonna win this fight? I'm hoping Povetkin wins, but I mean, let's be honest, man. Povetkin's getting up there in age. Okay, he's a little chinny too. If you catch him, it's gonna come down to who hits him, who lands a big shot first, man. That's just the type of fight it is. And but I am favoring Povetkin though, because it's hard to come back after you get knocked the fuck out. You know, so.
Yeah, for me, it was the knockout of the year last year, or at least tied for knockout of the year. And what was impressive to me about it, too, was the fact that Povetkin came off the floor to do it. I think he came off the floor twice, actually. Big Rican.
Twice, yeah.
Right, twice. Big Rican, you saw the first fight. What are your thoughts so far as we look forward to the rematch?
Well, I don't really think Dillian White had. I mean, aside from Povetkin setting him up, with those, the body shot that set up the, instead of coming down with the hook to the body, came up with the uppercut. I mean, it's not like Dillian White was not up in the fight. It's not like he wasn't, it's not like, it's kind of like I don't know who was it that said it, that it wasn't. I think it was Beef said it, that it's not like he. It was like some no-look, hook out of nowhere that got him. He kind of set it up. But I don't know if changing a trainer would really do, like, maybe it would shore up a couple things that he did wrong, but it's not like he wasn't up in the fight. It's he knocked him down, 2 times in the round right before. And he would, I think it's going to be like DStyle said. It's going to come down to whoever either hits the first big shot or the last huge shot. Because it's just a toss-up. You have Povetkin, who's just like you said, he's up there in age. He's, you catch him a couple times in the chin, he's going to go down like Dillian White did with him. But, I hope that Povetkin wins. I'm going to say it's a toss-up. Dillian White didn't have to change too much aside from shoring up his defense. But the thing is, he's so head first that he doesn't seem like he ever really changes anything he does throughout a fight anyway. So it's going to come down to that. It's going to come down to who might make an adjustment, if Dillian White can make an adjustment. I'm going to say Dillian White's going to be up early like he was in the last fight. And maybe depending on how he comes to this fight with his new trainer, he might, make adjustments so Povetkin can't catch him again like he did and might cruise to a decision.
I think that's going to be his strategy, to box behind the jab from the outside, stay away from inside fighting, much like AJ does at all costs. Wrap up Povetkin when he can, push him out of the way when he can, and just stay away from hooks and uppercuts. I was running a little bit late to get here. I was actually on the roof setting off fireworks because I was so happy about the next thing I want to ask you guys about. Okay, Frampton Herring has been announced after multiple delays. It's going to be taking place in the Middle East. Eric, I know you're right there with me. Please share your excitement for this fight and its implications on the 130-pound division.
I'm not excited for this fight. I think, maybe I'm in the minority here. I don't know. I've just never really been that impressed with Jamal Herring. I just haven't. I think Frampton beats him. I think Frampton beats him rather easy. But as far as waiting for this fight or whatever, I mean, I'm not waiting for it. Hopefully, it's
just
on.
Set the name of the
ESPN,
fight and numbers are dropping.
Well, I'll throw a couple interesting names into the mix that names that this has an impact on. Oscar Valdez, obviously, and Shakur Stevenson are 2 names in the division that this fight might lead to unification fights for. Look, I was never a fan of this fight. I never understood this fight. I've seen Jamal Herring fight multiple times live at the Garden and have not been impressed. They're the kind of fights where you go to use the bathroom or you go to get a beer or whatever. They're just not exciting fights. And I see why Carl Frampton's interested in this fight. I think it's a very winnable fight for him. But I do not see the winner of this fight having any chance at all against Oscar Valdez, the WBC champion. Joe Habib, do you have any thoughts on this?
You know, it's kind of a fight that's flying under the radar because a lot of people aren't really excited about it. And the intriguing thing about it is Frampton. How much does he have left? And he's kind of the smaller guy here as well. Herring is physically strong. He can push the pace when he wants to, but that's the key word there is when he wants to, because he does have lapses, as you said. I agree with that. But that's what's intriguing to me is just to see how much Frampton has left and just to see if he can become a champion again. Close out his career with another title under his belt. So I think where Frampton is at right now in his career, this fight could be interesting. I think it could be interesting because Frampton sometimes starts slow, likes to lay back and play the counterpunch role, but we've also seen him step on the gas when he has to. In that Scott Quigg fight, he stepped on the gas in the second half, and that fight was very intriguing. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight starts off slow, maybe in the first 4 rounds, 5 rounds, and then it does pick up. So I'm being optimistic as I always am, but you could be right. This could turn into a stinker as well. Both guys, sometimes do flip the switch and go on cruise control. And if that's the case, then it could turn out to be uneventful. But let's cross our fingers and hope that doesn't happen.
The other thing is he just has a propensity, I think, to clinch as well, which I don't really find very appealing, especially in the lower weight class. And I'm talking about Jamel Herring. Do you give either of these two guys, Joe, a chance at Valdez?
Yeah, if they bring a bat in the ring.
Yeah. D-Style?
Look, man, this fight is so bad, like not even the universe wants this fight to happen.
Oh, buddy!
Okay, look, like the universe, like the energy that's being put out, like it doesn't want this fight to happen. The boxing gods are like get him injured, they postponed this shit. What's going on over here?
This is the Infinity Gauntlet,
right? They don't want this fight in Saudi Arabia. Like, what's going on over here? For what? Let me tell you something. You really believe this dude's injury, right? Oh, by golly gee, you know what? We're going to reschedule it in Saudi Arabia. Like what? Wait, what?
What's wrong with Saudi
What are you going to postpone? So the fight got postponed due to injury, and it just miraculously ends up in Saudi Arabia where they're going to pay you more money for it. I mean, I don't know. All right. I don't even know what to say to that, okay? But I don't want to see fights in Saudi Arabia anyway, okay? Cuba is a boxing nation. They can't even box we don't box over there, right? But we're going to go over there to Saudi Arabia, okay? I mean, horrible human right violations, okay? That's number one, okay? And then and it's just as horrible, no ring card girls? Are you out of your mind? And they don't allow women to box over there? I don't even know why we're over there. That's a different story. Okay. All right. But one more thing. The universe, the boxing gods, whatever god you worship, okay, whatever it is, if you're atheist, the Big Bang, everything does not want this fight to happen. That's all I got to say about that. Shakur beats both of them.
I didn't have any emotional reaction to the fact that this fight was postponed the first time at all. There was no disappointment. There was nothing at all, no feelings at all about that.
I didn't even know this fight was being made.
You know what? It's about time we make the Saudis suffer. Okay? You know what? Sit down and watch that Frampton fight. Okay, with Herring. Sit down and watch that fight.
I saw you moving around in your chair. I'm guessing that was out of excitement. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Oh wait, I was excited.
Pretty squeaky chair too. Yeah, like quack, quack.
Hey, I'm in one of those chairs, man. You take to go watch like your kid at a soccer game.
Hey,
Kind of
bring
chair.
me the DW40.
First off, I didn't know that this fight was even being scheduled or postponed. I don't care. Like, okay, maybe I'm not gonna watch it, but I guess I'll hope that Herring wins because he's in the U.S. military like I am. I don't know. Fuck, I'm not watching it. And it's ESPN Plus, and it's what ESPN Plus card.
I don't actually understand when they divide stuff between ESPN and ESPN Plus, how they make that calculation. But yeah, it probably will be on ESPN Plus.
I actually looked it up right now. It's supposed to be on ESPN Plus.
Don't you wish boxing like tried this hard to make fights happen? Like they're trying to make Frampton, Herring. Like they're really trying to keep the fight alive. I wish they did this for all the fights.
Yes, but there's not all the politics, except for the fact that it's in Saudi Arabia. Aside from that, I have nothing else to say. I mean, it's not exciting. The only reason I watch it maybe is because a U.S. military man is in.
Yeah. So look, that's pretty much it, guys. We've got it in our picks for this weekend. It looks pretty much unanimous, with the exception of Big Rican over there going for the Nicaraguan Chocolatito, and I think that's pretty much it. So unless we'll just go to final thoughts, and I'll start with Joe Habib.
Well, it's great to be back. I missed last week, and I was very disappointed that I missed last week. So I'm just happy that I'm back on this great panel.
You're good for the ratings. You're good for the ratings.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm a little disappointed we talked about the 115-pound division with Flocka being here. I heard she's nursing an injury, so my best wishes go out to her. So hope things go all right with her. And I'm just looking forward to this fight this weekend. The little guys. You look
have been really putting there. You want some water?
The little guys have really been putting on a show. A lot of people can hate the play, but they just can't hate the game. But
what game is being played?
Probably a game that is like levels above what anyone's used to. You know that level you get on the video game where you just can't beat it? They call that Beeb. But anyways,
so like Mario Kart when I got it.
Yeah. But the little guys so far this year have been stealing the show, and I hope that we just keep up with that trend this weekend, because I'm glad to see the little guys get some shine.
Absolutely. Especially, I don't know if you guys remember that card a few weeks ago on the PBC with the super huge obese fat dude in the heavyweight division. And I'm like, why could they not give this fight to like the little guys? I just didn't get it. Eric, final thoughts, my man.
Man, I tell you what, I can't wait for this weekend. Estrada Chocolatito, that's going to be a good fight. And then we're going to crown a king at 115, man. We'll have 2 belts, and it's going to be good. And it'll be interesting to see where they go from here. I'm guessing they're going to go with Rungvisai. I guess he's the WBC mandatory. I'd like to see a unification down there, and I think that one thing, and I think that'll happen. I really do. I think that'll happen. I think it's like you mentioned beforehand, with the lighter weights, there's not as much nonsense going on. So, yeah, can't wait.
Absolutely. Big Rican, final thoughts.
Final thoughts. I hope that after this weekend, the Regan Visai trilogy can be made, because I want Chocolatito to get that fight back. I just hope he does, because reasons. And I hope Clarissa Shields does really good in MMA, because she's not going to make any money in boxing with women the way it is right now. I'm just going to say that right now. I hope she does good, and if she wants the money that she wants, either help change it up, or better do good in MMA.
As an MMA guy, do you think she has actually a shot in MMA?
Well, how old is she? Isn't she like what, 20?
25, I think.
25.
Oh no, she's young.
Yeah.
She Okay, so one thing about it that like she's like like everyone brings up the James Toney when he fought MMA. I'm like, dude's like 42 years old, bro. Like all he knows is boxing. He didn't have a chance to learn anything. At least like with Amanda Serrano and Clarissa Shields, they're young enough to where they have a lot of time to learn jiu-jitsu, wrestling, all that stuff. So I would say Clarissa Shields will definitely be good in MMA. And she's with Jackson Winklejohn in Albuquerque, New Mexico, with Holly Holm, John Jones, those guys down there. They're going to get her right. It's just more so, can they get her to adapt her boxing stance to not leaning, it's more so just can they adapt her boxing stance. Because I've seen her videos. She's doing really good absorbing, the wrestling, the Muay Thai kickboxing. Her kicks are actually pretty good.
It's interesting.
Her kicks have actually come out pretty good.
There's footage of her training MMA?
Yeah. It should be on her Instagram, like where she's working out, like doing kickboxing drills.
She looks good?
Yeah, she looks good. Her striking will not be a problem. More so if if she, because you guys know in boxing, a lot of boxers are very heavy on their front foot.
Yeah.
So like when a kick comes, you can't really check it, like get your foot off the ground or bounce back and forth. So if she can adapt her stance, keep her boxing, especially get her takedown defense really good, she's gonna be a problem because nobody's gonna be able to touch her on the feet. Maybe a world-class Muay Thai fighter, maybe, but as far as her hands, she'll definitely do good in MMA. It's not going to be a problem. It's more so can she develop a good, ground game and good wrestling.
What are the female weight classes in MMA? They don't have like middleweight and stuff, right? In UFC, I only see they have like bantamweight and lightweight and.
I think it depends on what company you're in, though.
Right.
It depends on where you're at.
Company.
Because she's in the PFL, which has I think. They have a 155 division, so Clarissa Shields will be having fights at that division.
Okay,
it's more so.
Before you finish your final thoughts, bro, let everybody know about what you're doing, or when are you planning to have your first fight, et cetera, et cetera.
Well, I'm planning. Well, COVID-19 kind of screwed everything up. Training and all stuff. Gyms closing down. Commissions making. Keeping. Combat Night MMA down here in Florida, kind of. On the low. So I'm hoping to fight at the end of this year, trying to cut down to 185. I'm right now about like 220 on a bad day when I eat too much. But right now, just my YouTube is right here, so you can follow that for all my vlogs and everything. Hoping to fight at the end of this year. Puerto Ricans don't have a lot of representation in MMA at all, which is something I would love to change. But aside from that, I mean, that's pretty much it as far as what I'm trying to do. Just trying to get a fight at the end of the year. That's pretty much it. But final thoughts. Clarissa Shields, she's gonna do good in MMA because someone said 145. It is the highest in the UFC, but PFL and Ryzen, the other divisions, they have it. Look up Gabby Garcia. You guys have probably seen the fight of that big, giant, fucking Brazilian woman beating the shit out. It depends on where she goes to. UFC, she probably have to go down to 145. That's the highest division. But yeah, I think Clarissa Shields is going to do good. She just has to develop good habits. She's young. It's like I said, she's young.
If she can go to 155, she might as well fight Breakus or a McCaskill winner than the fight we didn't really talk about. But D-Style, I'm going to throw to you, and then I'll give my final thoughts, and I'll throw back to you again.
Well, look, this is what I want to say. First of all, guys, hey, thanks for everyone in the panel for showing up. I know time is precious.
Thanks for having me on.
Everybody that comes on, you know what I mean? Shout out to everybody. Yes, have sunglasses. Everyone else wears glasses. They don't say anything. I started wearing sunglasses. I'm trying to look cool, and people talking about the sun.
But you're indoors.
Yeah, I mean,
it's out of your character, though. It's out of your character.
Let me tell you, oh, shit's fucking bright in here now. But let me tell you something, okay?
You're out of pocket. You're out of pocket today.
It's all good. It's all good. Let me tell you guys something, okay? No, I'm not hungover or none of that, okay? But here's what I'll say. I am tired, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Little high, little reefer.
Tyson Fury doesn't want any piece of Anthony Joshua. He don't want no piece. He want nothing to do with that dude. And one more thing about boxers and MMA, okay? Jeremy, half man, half amazing. Williams, 5-0, and he was just too old.
Awesome. He was
Like
awesome.
he was too old when MMA started kicking off, but he was world class boxer, top 10 contender who was also a judoka. And there's also film of him picking up Lennox Lewis and slamming him down, Maestro. Just want to throw that out there. But hey, man, thanks. Don't miss the fights, man. Do not miss the fights, guys. Great fight. Chocolatito
Only
versus Gallo.
one Tyson Fury. Only one Tyson Fury. Singing a song as AJ goes down. Walking into AJ knockout in the fifth.
Oh, thank God, because that was starting to sound really bad.
AJ is gonna go to sleep.
I'm gonna tell you something. There were very few things as funny to me as part of the lead up to Wilder.
Only one.
As when Wilder had no material and he had to resort to essentially repeating back that song, inserting his name. I thought that was really, really funny. And starting streaming, there was only one Deontay. It was very lame. Anyhow, I'm with you.
Only one Tyson Fury snorting a line, drinking a pint. There you go. Well, what's up, B?
We all have our vices. We all have our vices. It's okay.
Yeah, and I'll
It's part
say
of life. It's part of life.
And we can bet a pie to the face right here on the round table that
I'm not that confident.
That Fury's gonna beat Deontay. There's gonna beat Anthony.
I'm not that confident. Do you hear what he said? I'm gonna bet you right now. If Anthony Joshua wins, I'll put on the bra and panties and I'll be online.
No.
I'll do it.
When you lose a bet, you're supposed to lose, not us. Like you're supposed to lose.
Which begs the question to me,
man.
Beeb, where are you getting that outfit from? It's like you have that hiding away in your drawer.
He's getting it from his 115 girlfriend. He's getting it from his 115 girlfriend.
Yo, B, when someone loses a bet, okay, the guy who loses is supposed to suffer, not everybody else. Okay, I'm just saying.
Just don't play that 8-track player again.
Yeah. So, anyways, my final thoughts. I heard D-Style take a little dig at Lennox Lewis. That's my man. I did a video today, actually, where I basically outlined why I think Tyson's overrated. And the same people that overrate Tyson always seem to want to downgrade Lennox, even though Lennox knocked him the fuck out. But I digress. Thank you, everyone, for showing up today. Always a pleasure having everybody here on with us, especially fun when Eric and Joe show up at the same time. I always like being on with you two. D-Style, thank you for
Maestro
on your channel. Yes, sir.
Maestro.
Yep.
I'm gonna say something that maybe not everyone's gonna agree with. You can make an argument that Lennox Lewis is the best heavyweight of our era.
I've made that argument.
Right?
If you want to come on and talk, Joe,
definitely make that argument.
Come on my channel and we'll talk about it, because that is an argument I'm making. And honestly,
I'm 24.
I don't have Dr. Iron Fist Vitaly Klitschko that far behind. I'm just saying. Anyways, thank you.
I'm 24, so I wouldn't know.
It's not that controversial to say of this era, but all right, yeah.
Well, even if
that's a lot.
Who beats him?
Think about it. How long is an era?
You want to be controversial? You want to cause a controversy, Beeb? Okay, where do you rank him?
An era is 20 years. An era is honestly, he's in my top 10.
No, I'll answer your question.
He's in my top 10.
The era is very clear for me. Lennox Lewis is the best heavyweight fighter since they started the 12 rounds of championship heavyweight boxing. Period. You can start to debate how well he do in the 15-round era, but the era of 12 rounds, 3 minutes each, Lennox Lewis is the best fighter of all time. Nobody beats him. There's not a single fighter that beats Lennox Lewis. So you think about it. He knocked out everybody or beat everybody. Holyfield, Tyson, we could go on and on. But how did my final thoughts turn into a rant about Lennox Lewis? I don't know.
I gassed you up. I know how to light the flame, baby.
We had a little bit of extra time.
I like the flame on the
extra
people.
time, but hey, man.
Yeah,
shout out to everybody, by the way, for showing us, guys. We appreciate it.
Shout out to Leave It in the Ring. If you like this and you want to listen to this over again, we're on Pandora, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, you name it, on Leave It in the Ring.
Rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcast. 5 stars. Don't be the dick and give us 1 star.
And like D-Style said, enjoy the fights this weekend, man, because you know what? A lot of these casuals don't tune in to the lower weight classes. So tell your cousins, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles. That's a line, by the way, Debib, that Teddy Atlas accused Tim Bradley of stealing from him on his telecast.
I think Tupac said that. I'm your rapper's favorite rapper. I mean, come on, it's the same thing. Teddy Atlas has been biting people's lines for years.
Oh,
that clown.
Oh, Teddy Atlas,
Teddy
son.
Atlas.
You respect his name.
Teddy Atlas gets the middle
Put some
finger.
respect on his name, son.
Teddy Atlas. That guy's
Stop
whack.
it. Guy's got a family. Knock it off.
That guy's whacker than corduroy bell bottoms. He's horrible.
How dare you? Disrespect.
Y'all making all these references that make me feel too damn young.
Yes, this is DStyleBoxing. Thank you for joining us at D-Style. Right to you.
Keep it boxing. We're out of here. Peace.